Welcome to another episode of Founders Go Naked. And today I have Kevin Foong, who is a Feng Shui master from Singapore with us today. So welcome, Kevin, on this channel.
Thank you so much, Terrence. Pleasure to have you.
So Kevin is actually one of the most sought after Feng Shui masters in Singapore. He actually works for Fortune 500 companies. I mean, they actually look for him because he's so well known in Singapore as an awesome Feng Shui master. So we're privileged to interview him today, not just as a Feng Shui master, but also as a successful entrepreneur who has trained thousands of people in the art of Feng Shui. So super excited for this interview. So let's get into it, Kevin, shall we?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so Kevin, tell us, why did you decide to become a Feng Shui master and how did that happen?
Okay, no. I always tell this story all the time, but I thought I let you guys updated a bit on that. Okay, I think nobody wants to be a Feng Shui master since day one. At least, it doesn't sound like it's an amazing job, this and that. But here's the thing. I actually went into this trade by, I would say, circumstances, right? So I was actually back then, I was studying overseas in Australia for a while, and then technically, things happened back home, and then a lot of things. In fact, those times was actually the Asia financial crisis. So family wise was going through a little bit of quite a bit of turbulence here and there. So and then long story short, then after that, we had to come back to Singapore and then to help family to sort out a lot of things. But of course, along the way, that was when you start to have deep questions, like this sort of things that's happening. Is there like some sort of timeline to it? Is there any form of patterns that I can maybe forecast this sort of patterns and probably make good decisions, tries not to have them happen again? So all these thoughts starts running into my minds, and of course then during those times I was young, right? So I have to start to, before I go and decided, hey, I want to be a Feng Shui master. Of course, I go and see a few people in the market back in those days that they were the top people. I will not name anyone, just for the protecting everyone in the industry lah. So, but in fact, I got a lot of random advice. So some people say, you know what, your forehead, there's a dark cloud around here, so it shows that some bad luck is following you. Yeah. So I get that from one master, and then the other master was telling me, hey, you know what, in the center of your eyebrows, there's hair linking up between eyebrows, so this is causing obstacles. So yeah, I get various reasons, and then of course then also bought a lot of things during that time. So different. It seems like different people have different takes on what Feng Shui is all about. Anyway, fast, to the actual day that I decided that what was actually going. So I've tested a lot of things. What they tell me to do, plug all the eyebrow, this sort of things, and then putting placement of stuff. Back in those days, I had to buy water fountain, I had to buy Phoenix, Dragon, I had to wear a lot of bracelet. So those were how I got first in touch with Feng Shui. And then of course, to the contrary of it, none of the current circumstances actually changed as much. So I realized then, I said, hey, you know what, this can't be Feng Shui, right? I mean, no disrespect to any of the Feng Shui masters out there, but at the end of the day, I always felt that, if we were to be talking about certain things about some situation, there must be solutions for it, right? There must be a way that we can 100% determine, oh yeah, this is the cause of it, this is what you do, this is how you get out of this problem, and then you move towards the solutions. So it was through that notion, then I decided that I have to go and make the breakthrough. So, and then I took all my trips to many different masters all over the world. Okay, so I have the honor of studying under 13 different trainers over the years, and after that we realized, okay, what Feng Shui really is. Okay, and then you apply, right? So a client see results. He was actually from the banking sector, and then he spoke to his boss about it, and the boss, okay, let's try this for office. Okay, then about 8 months in, they see another results coming in, and then in a short amount of time, the different banking industry started looking, for us to get certain things aligned and fixed. Yeah, so this is how we come to today. If you see that, the long track record of Fortune 5 companies, they come on board is always coming down to one thing: what is really feng shui, and at what point does it really change their life, and technically the operations, the sales, and the attitude of the people working in the environment. Yeah, so it was really circumstances.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm curious, what is really feng shui? Because, like, as you say, feng shui is not really all the bracelets and the fancy jade dragons and all that stuff. So what is feng shui, and how can it help, like, business owners and I'm just curious, Kevin.
Yeah, sure. So technically, feng shui is actually, in my analogy, is a study of how the energy move around Earth. All right. So sometimes I always tell people you can't see oxygen, right? But it doesn't mean that oxygen does not exist. Okay.
True.
So it's not everything that you really have to see with the sight, and then you can prove its existence. That's one. Now, feng shui, technically, on the broader view of it, it comes down to two key things that we study from that. All energies is coming from Mother Earth, right? So mountains, high landform, all these have a lot of energy. Okay. And then river, well, technically, there's this common saying, 山管人丁, 水管财. So what it actually means is the mountain govern people, it governs relationship, our health, connection. The water carries the qi energy that will influence your wealth, right? So in short, if you see that places that has a lot of mountains all over the world, right? In different cities, you do see there's a lot of mountains.
Yep.
Usually, this area are highly populated. Okay, so the more mountains, population is huge, because it talks about bringing on the next generation, so on and so forth. And then technically you get maybe certain cities or certain like Singapore, right? We are kind of like surrounded by water. We don't really have big mountains. I mean, if you talk about Bukit Timah, you talk about Bukit Batok, those are like hills. They're not real mountains like Malaysia. Malaysia do have big mountains, right? So if you look at that context, Singapore today has established itself as a financial hub, right? So everything of it is dealing with financial.
Yes.
But then if you look at it again, population growth rate in Singapore, we are not doing exactly great. Probably don't quote me, but if I didn't see the last statistics, we are like, I think, 0.9 something to a couple. We are not even getting a child to every couple right now. So population rate has been declining. Also, partly this is due to mountain. So in short, where we stay in one place, in feng shui terminology, it actually affects us. Okay. So example, you hear stories like some cities in Japan. People over there live beyond like 80, 90, 100 years old, right? And then you get some of these cities in China as well. In India, you have heard of this as well. And then we have no idea why certain cities like that, people are living so long life. Okay. So again, there is something about the city. It can be the mountain terrain, the landform, all right, the contour of the landform. All this brings different energy that governs different influence of our life. All right. So all this tells us that as long the landform is ideal, right? We look at, so feng shui comes from many different schools, right? If you look at it, at the top of it, we do have the landform school. Now, landform school tell us that we look at what's around our 400 diameters surrounding a place. Okay, so 400 meters surrounding a place. In Singapore, people generally say, oh, you know what, Bukit Timah is good feng shui. Okay, and then you get a lot of crazy stories about Yishun in Singapore. It's all the crazy people doing crazy things. No, I always say that is further from the truth. There are people who are staying in Bukit Timah who probably had to go through bankruptcy. And there are people staying in Yishun right now, although the media is saying that Yishun is a crazy place to stay in, but there are people who are staying in Yishun right now that's going through a very good time. All right. So what's then is the real feng shui. So it's again the 4 meters in diameter, the immediate landform. We look at it as that. That's the first immediate landform, because it talks about the capacity of the place you're in. So example, I always tell people that you have your same operation, same executive, same CEO, CFO, same team, all right, same methodology, but you move this one team from office A to office B,
Mhm.
suddenly the performance vary greatly, right? Either the whole team is doing so well, or the whole team is facing a lot of problems. But given that everything is the same, right? The same selling method, executive, and what? So what was the variable? The variable was the land differences.
Yep.
Office A have a different landform versus Office B has another set of landform,
Mm.
right? So likewise, I always say that you see, this knowledge is the most valuable to most people out there.
Mm.
That as long you selected one place, that the landform is ideal. The landform means the capacity of how high you can go,
Mhm.
right? But it can also means the capacity of how bad the problems can go.
Can you tell some stories about how, like, one or two of your clients have actually used Feng Shui to improve their work life, to improve their business? Can you give us some examples, like
Oh
how
yeah,
it
sure.
works? Yeah.
So technically, we do have quite a lot of stories to tell, but I'll probably
Mhm.
just start with one of those. So there is this one of this client. So her case was a bit particular because technically she was quite a really senior nurse in the nursing industry, right?
Okay.
But of course, no quoting on names because all clients is PNC,
Yeah.
right? So but technically, right to the point whereby she was encountering a lot of problems in a very political environment.
Mm.
Okay, so and then what? Once we access that, of course, all of these problems actually, if you look at a person's date of birth and time, now our date of birth and time is basically like a blueprint, right, with a full map to
Mm.
let us know where are we at right now,
Mhm.
right? Are you heading towards a crack, right,
Mhm.
that you're about to fall into it, or are
Mm.
you being given a lot more opportunities that you like? Sometimes we'll see that people get fame overnight, this sort of
Mm.
things, and why that things happen is always coming from date of birth and time. So from a date of birth and time, it's true that she had to work with very difficult people in as
Mhm.
part of her management, right? That's part of her parts, right?
Mhm.
So likewise, then how do we change her? So then we realize that the house that she's staying in happened to be a landform, okay, that is creating very toxic environment. So
Mm.
which means that she always get backstabs, people create
Mm.
stories, and some people wants to be a bit more dramatic, and then there's too many of these things. So long story short, in short, we managed to convince her to move from that property
Mhm.
to another property. Then of
Right.
course, then we say that, you know what, not everyone sometimes have the capacity to just move it because
Yep.
you say it, right? So I
Yep.
would say is that you don't necessarily have to own the property, that even
Mhm. Mhm.
renting a different property, but in a good feng shui context in terms of your external landform, that will
Mhm.
help a lot. So true
Mm.
enough, so once I got her to shift to that place, she sold her old place, move on to
Mhm.
the new place. There's this amazing thing that happens. Suddenly, two of that bosses that used to be
Mhm.
very toxic to her,
Mhm.
suddenly they get posted to another different department.
Oh.
Okay, and then about 7 months in, I think she then get upgraded on a position, but of course slightly more responsibility.
Mhm.
Right, but I look at the parts, I say, you know what, you got to take this up because you don't always get a good time that is coming in right
Yep.
now. So there's some good opportunities. I would tune out the stress factors for you, but it is what it is. Obviously, a CEO is going to handle more things than your junior staff, but sometimes you got to take
Mm.
out the responsibility. So that's that for her. So long story
Mm.
short, went
Nice.
from a very toxic environment, and then the toxic environment just one part of it. Her health went through a lot of problems back then,
Mm.
and then because at the new environment, then she discovered there's also growth that she should not be getting.
Mm.
Right, she got that at the old place, but she didn't realize she had it.
Mm.
So part of the move also, then she went for a health check, and then she picked that up. That was something
Mm.
new. So gotten rid of that, but thank God that she found early. So just this short episode, you see, move from a better work environment
Mm.
to a
Mm.
less toxic one. Then of course,
Mhm.
then some growth in the opportunities where she's doing right now. And then
Mhm.
the third thing that we say, health.
Mm.
The thing about health is a lot of people, a big part of the clients, their first questions will never be about health, right?
Yeah.
I always say this: if their first question is about health, they're in some sort of deep trouble already.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So usually, people first question is, how am I going to be doing right now?
Mm.
I'm looking for career changes for this year. Is this a
Mhm.
good year? Should I leave my
Mhm.
company? Or then other people will just be asking about their relationship. So these are the common problems that most of
Mm.
us will have to go through. So
Mm.
that's just one of the story. And then the other one is, this is unique. Because there's this one a client, so pretty young, right? He was doing the toy industry. Of course, if you do a case studies on my website, you probably will find out who he is, because we did
Right.
mention him as client before. But just to protect his PNC a bit, I will not mention so much. I'll just give you some scenario. So in the toy industry, I think he borrowed about 20,000 from his mom to start a business, right?
Mhm.
Manufacturing toys.
Okay.
Of course, it's difficult, right? Because nobody
Yeah.
will believe that you can make an industry out of doing toys. Your parents will probably expect you to go back to a job, right?
Mhm.
And then, go up a corporate ladder and then do well enough for yourself. So it's just one part of it. Long story short, right? So we did his part to give him advice on the house feng shui and more things using feng shui to help him. So fast forward to today, I think he was probably a 2012 or 2013 client, if I remember.
Mhm.
So about 10 years in,
Mhm.
company is valued at 200 million right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So some funding came in, right? I think they good funding, about 45, 50 million. So
Mhm.
pretty much conquer the market today. So a lot of the shops today are all carrying their products everywhere. So
Wow.
200 million valuation, and then of course the next stage, I think once they go on to US stocks market, it'll be a bigger valuation from there onwards. So again, this is from a feng shui point of view. You need to understand this. Sometimes 八字, will tell you, certain people, they are good for doing business. Certain
Mhm.
people can't do business,
Mhm.
right? But it doesn't mean 100% cast in stone. You cannot set
Mm.
up a business because your 八字 say so. All right.
Mm.
Now,
Mhm.
八字do have an intrinsic sets of characteristics that roughly shape the person that we are in today,
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
school of thoughts, all the decisions that we make, or do
Mhm.
we have the suitable traits of a
Mm.
businessman? But it
Mhm.
does not mean that some of these skill sets are not trainable. All right.
Mm.
So pretty much a lot of things that 八字, has due to its limitation, we use the process of feng shui to change the environment. You see, once the person
Mhm.
environment is changed,
Mhm.
the mind is changed. Suddenly, this
Mm.
guy becomes a bit, wants to try for more new things in their life. Maybe in the past 10
Mm.
years, he had been an accountant. And they
Mm.
say, no, you know what? I'm just an accountant. I can't do anything more than an accountant. I know nothing about that.
Mhm.
Suddenly, just using feng shui mechanics put the guy in a better environment. He
Mhm.
see new ideas, he see
Mhm.
problems that he want to solve, and that set
Mm.
him on the stage to set up business. And then
Mm.
from there, sometimes people never look back. Okay,
Mm.
so if you look at all of us, we worked for people last time, right? Didn't we?
Yeah.
So at one juncture, we also decided that you know what, I have to give my dream a try,
Mm.
get out. All
Mhm.
right, and then to help more people. But of course, I was thankful that in this consulting business we have been in for about 24, 25 years. It's a long time, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of meaning in the things that we're doing right now, because we see life transformation, right? We're
Mhm.
seeing that people coming out from their struggles. They used to
Mhm.
be at this stage right now, and because we have been in this road before, we have been in that dark path before, we know that it's
Mm.
so difficult, right?
Mm.
So I always let people know that no matter what curveballs life is going to throw at you,
Mhm.
you need to understand that in life there will always be a solution. There has
Yep.
to be a solution, because no planet, one planet energy always remain in the same position. Planet
Mhm.
energy change all the time. All right.
Mhm.
So as long as you're willing to look out this and that and everything, and then this one I say that change your feng shui, you transform your life.
Great. So,
In life,
Kevin,
yeah.
so from my understanding, it's like, okay, everyone has a 八字 depending on the time they are born, right? So there's a certain path in life, general path in life for this
Yes.
person, for you, whatever time and date you were born. And then feng shui can actually help to mitigate some of those big issues that you go along the way, so that the magnitude of your challenge, for example, is not so big. Like, for example, the lady just now who had political issues at work, because you mitigated her feng shui, mitigated her 八字 through feng shui, her political issue kind of dissolved.
That is right.
Correct.
That is right. So
Yeah.
how we actually look at it, I always teach this as a layering system. Okay, let's talk about the context of luck. All right. So
Yeah.
the three perception of luck come from these three things. We always say 天地人, which means heaven, your earth, and your man energy. So what's heaven? Heaven is your date of birth and time. That
Mhm.
code, the date that you're born, the time you're born is fixed. You can't change that anymore. But the
Yeah.
day that you understand what this code meant for you, means you save yourself a lot of time, right? Like example, going to the bad job only to realize 10 years later that this is not for you,
Mm.
right? Going into bad
Mm.
partnership with people that
Mhm.
is going to give you a lot of problems. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's part one third, and then you do have your earth energy. So 天地 earth energy. Earth energy talks about the environment you're in. Okay,
Mm.
are you in a good house? Okay, are you staying using a good desk to do your work? Are you sleeping in a good bed? So that's the earth energy. But earth energy is something that we can change, right? So if I don't like this place, I can rent another place. I don't like this bed, I
Yep.
can change another bed. But your date of birth and time, you
Yep.
can't change. So in that definition, your date of birth and time is wanted, your earth energy is wanted. And then we do say there's this man action. Okay. So man action is also wanted. So 天地人. So it talks about heaven is actually very fair. Right? The greater universe actually give us one third of our life in our control.
Mm.
Here's the thing. Then we will just say that, oh, wouldn't then the person born with a good life, right?
Mhm.
And then if all he does is to make good decision, they already have 66.6%. So who cares about feng shui? You
Yeah.
don't really care about feng shui. Which brings us to the next topic. Most people, when your parts you're not doing well, turn out that your one third, your man luck, all right? The luck that you're in control usually is easy for you to make the wrong decision.
Mm.
Okay? So this is exactly what it means. Then how do you know are you making a right or wrong decision? Because sometimes you really don't know. Okay, but most of us when we make a decision is through emotion. Like, oh, I
Yep.
talked to this person right now. He proposed me to be a partner. Okay, and
Yeah.
then I have good vibes about him. So I think let's just do this business. But what you did not know is, from your partner's point of view, is this year is a bad year for you to invest. And maybe if you do invest and didn't do your homework, you can lose the pot of money easily, and they won't come back.
Mm.
Okay, so you see, you don't know this part about your partner, so you only make the
Yep.
decision based on your emotion, your gut feelings. So
Yep.
most of the time, if this person partner is all about him going through a period of high resistance, he will be about to make that wrong decision about most of things he do in life. Right? Now, understand that all human beings were not perfect. We definitely have flaws. Okay, and then we got to be gain into full awareness of our flaws. So knowing that flaws, for example, you talk about someone who is very explosive temper in nature. When you make this person angry, you will take out a knife, you will knife everyone. Okay, then this is a very bad flaw, right? Because if you're not going to take control of this, at one point you will lose control of your life. So then, from the date of birth at time, once you got into that, next, utilize the parts. There's only two methods to this, right? So first is you have to find a good place. The landform is good, supports whatever you want to do, at least for these 5 to 10 years. Okay, you realize then, okay, opportunity starts to come in, the money flows a lot faster. Okay, then there are growth in the family, and then people are more harmonious, and then we are more caring to each other as a family. Whereas sometimes into a family, you got other feng shui problems. People are really cold. They don't talk to each other. I get out, I do my thing. You get out, you do your thing. Come back, we sleep on the same bed. It's like married, as if that you're not married. So I don't. So there's a lot of couples going through challenges like that, right? So feng shui, once you get that part correct, then make sure that the key position of your bed, your stove, your study area, all these once you get it right, that's it. That's all you need to do. You don't change houses every year or what. You don't need to change your furniture every other year. Although, yeah, we do know that now sometimes people tell you, oh yeah, we are in period 9 right now. So what's this thing about period 8 and period 9? Just a different sets of energy in terms of feng shui transformation. So period 8 talks about the energy that's starting from 2003 to 2024. So that's about 20 years. Period 9 talks about 2024 onwards to the next 20 years. And then you will go back to period 1, this sort of things. So the period energy is more or less for us to gauge where is the trend heading right now. So in period 9, trend is heading towards AI, is heading towards high-tech blockchain. So you realize in the last 3-4 years, people start to move to ChatGPT, AI started coming into play, right? So and then everything in the whole context changed, and then people start to make great fortune just by doing live streaming, because in period 9, it also talks about showing your face. Okay, the person that's willing to show their face as a branding will start to capture market shares greatly. Right, so that's why you say these days influencers came out, right? People who live stream, they will make it big, right? So gone are the days that people say you really need a university, you had to go and study hard. Okay, sometimes I say YouTuber these days make a lot more money than all of us here.
16-year-old ones.
Exactly. So trend That's the Feng Shui energy itself. So
Mhm.
while some people think that Feng Shui means that every year I have to change my house energy, not necessary. There is an annual energy intake, but it governs about 10 to 15%, provided your landform is correct, right? Your individual setting, the individual setting, we call this under the term 一人太极. That means I'm sitting right here. There is an energy force field surrounding me right now. So Taiji means
Mm.
the balance of yin and the yang logo. That means Taiji, right? So Yiren Taiji means where I'm sitting right now, where am I receiving energy? Where am I tapping energy from? Right? And it's a house configuration, the room configuration energy going well for me. Now, there's two ways to go about getting this. One, learn this system yourself. Okay, so you know all this methodology, how to implement for yourself. But then again, we always will have people who has too many things on their plate right now. Then please just go and get a professional. All right, someone with track record, get a professional come in, and then get this done properly for you. But of course, not anyone will just read the Feng Shui book and then tomorrow they become master who and who. And then this you got to do your own research lah. I'm not here to really tell you how to go about selecting a Feng Shui master. So part of it sometimes is destiny. So a person usually 八字, they're about to go through a good phase. They usually will meet. We call this noble people. Powerful people, helpful people coming into their life, making that change. Well, some people, sometimes they have to go through challenging phase. Then they ended up meeting all sort of wrong people. So even the Feng Shui master they selected also the wrong guy. Then everyone, he's just basically living to his own prophecy, what will happen in the next few years. That's energy time. Yeah. So all energies, technically what's key is 八字 one level, right? Feng Shui is one level, but Feng Shui is something always you can change. Okay. So I always tell people that you are the one that move yourself into this house. You don't even need a Feng Shui master to tell you your house got problem. You move in 6 months into the house, right? Then you read everything around you. How's your relationship like? Are you getting better relationship with your wife? Are you more closer? Are you more loving towards each other every day? Or are the kids finding a hard time to cope? They can't study, a lot of health problems. What's going on? So if all of this thing is already cropping out, you don't really need a Feng Shui master to tell you there must be something wrong that's not going on right with the house right now. Then there's only that few ways. Make that initiative to change. Now, sometimes the last thing is sometimes people do not want any form of changes, but they want the outcome to change. So which is quite impossible, right? If you're not going to change anything at all, and then but you hope this problem silently will go away. It doesn't work like that. All right. From a Bazi point of view, yes, maybe, because sometimes we say that 1 or 2 year, the luck energy, the annual luck interaction with your Bazi chart may bring certain challenges. So those 1 or 2 year, once the energy goes away, your problem may go away. But then the thing is, your home environment is fixed. Yeah. So the only way to find out is to make sure that it's properly aligned to all the proper energy it's supposed to be getting. That's the key to it.
So if I understand things correctly from what you tell me, is that when you do a Feng Shui reading, you can't just do a Feng Shui reading for someone. You have to look at the Bazi and then look at the Feng Shui in combination.
In short, this is what we do. We can actually do a reading just based on the Feng Shui in terms of the landform. Okay, let me give you some scenario. So scenario A is, let's say I don't have the client Bazi. Let's just say, right? But we can, just based on the postal code, okay, look at the postal code, look at the surrounding 4 meters, where this building, this condominium, this HDB, this landed house is. We look at the surrounding. We can immediately already forecast what sort of problems will come. That's without getting the information of the Bazi. So why does this happens? It's because there's a set of information that's closely tied to Feng Shui. There's a terminology and logics behind it, right? So understanding this logic will allow us to say, okay, this place that you're staying in right now, you will get this problem. That's just based on the external landform. All right. Now let's say I don't want to analyze from the external point of view. I just was invited, let's say, to a friend place. I step inside, and then I look at where the person is sleeping right now. So that's just based on the person where they're resting. So I look at where they're sleeping and analyze the door, the directions, and everything. And after that, I'll say, okay, you know what? The left-hand side of our body might be facing some health issues right now. They were like, wow, how do you know my left-hand side of the body have this? So that's based on Feng Shui principles that whatever we can read from the Feng Shui layout of this person's resting place will contribute to an outcome to this. That's without taking any information from the Bazi. So technically, then why we say that, why would they want to also be reading at the Bazi level at the same time? It's because technically, if I know your 八字, right? 八字to me is just to know, to guide you where do you want to go from here on. Okay. Now, people do have career changes, sometimes every 4 years or every 6 years. This is based on the 八字 trend. It will happen, right? So people, like this year, I did mention, September, October onwards, there'll be massive retrenchment coming from big companies, and the energy will still go on until November. Okay, so a lot of, I won't quote names. You will just find them, the big, Fortune 5 companies. A lot of them are retrenching, right? So it's actually based on a certain energy patterns. So similarly, on the 八字 patterns, people may change their job, right? May experience certain relationship problem here and there. But to know where they want to move on from here, you look at the 八字, okay? But to change your house to a better environment, you got to analyze what's the energy that's within your house, and then of course analyze what's externally within the 4 meters, diameter surrounding your house. That tell us what sort of problems and to what magnitude are you going to face. So, like example is, this external landform is really, going to pull you down. It's really going to give you a lot of discipline problems, production problems, sometimes legal issues that you don't want to be facing with. Then you want to move out from the area, provided if moving out is an option. Okay, so likewise, I say if you can't move out, then maybe try to rent a place here and there. Still cannot rent a place, then you can only change then the internal. But external governs 60%, your internal only governs 40%. So that's something that I always educate people. You can still change your internal, it will still help. But to get rid of the problem permanently, you do actually want a good supportive external landform. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay, that's very deep, Kevin. But yeah, I think that's fascinating. So if someone, my next question is if someone, you mentioned just saying the postcode and you can kind of give them an overview of the Feng Shui. What if someone is not in Singapore, they're in the US or in Australia or UK, Russia?
It works as well. So technically, you see, Feng Shui don't really look at which part. Okay, there are some differences. We base on northern hemisphere versus southern hemisphere, right? The hemisphere does have some sort of changes, but at the end of the day, where you stay in doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. You can be US, UK, in Dubai. You do always have a 4 meters that's surrounding you. Okay, wherever you are at, there could be rivers. Okay, there could be a high landform. There could be hills. There could be an open park. There could be cemeteries. Hopefully not, right? You don't want to stay near to cemeteries. Okay, but technically, what you have in that 4 meters again, irregardless where you stay in, always makes that difference. So similarly, we have clients all over the world, like sometimes even in the States, even in China, then we do let them know that this is the place that you should move in. So you move in 6 months into the place, you will feel the difference. Okay, because why 6 months is because when we look at Feng Shui point of view, we do follow this system. It's a 24 season energy. So 24 season in Chinese we call 24节气, right? So 24 seasonal energy also working on the context of the 5 element, right? Your metal, water, wood, fire, and earth energy. So once we look at energy change from a certain month onwards, then we say that okay, this is where you feel the changes. So this also explains why I always tell people that you realize every day most of us are doing the same thing, more or less.
Yeah.
But sometimes that one day, right, even driving on the road seems difficult. People cutting into your lane, and then clients become difficult, right? And then if you're working for somebody else, the vendor you're working with become difficult. And then even the boss boss is breathing down your neck. You just have no idea about, but you realize your pattern is the same. You wake up at the same time, you travel the same road to work, but yet that day turned out very different. So what changed? So it was actually the day. Every day has a set of energy, right? So if that year and the month and the day energy happens to interact with your chart to give it that very different outcome, sometimes it's a resistance outcome. You realize that okay, wow, that is really a struggling month. That is really a month. So much is happening suddenly, all of a sudden. So that's on the 八字 level, all right? So likewise, once you have a good Feng Shui, to what you quoted, it will actually buffer the event down. So example, if this person is destined to go through a big event, right, that is not going to be positive, all right, staying in a good place does buffer that down. Okay, coming back to just now, I was quoting one of the example, the nurse case I was speaking about. She even came back to us with this very interesting. It's not a story. It's an event that happened. She said that she usually park in this one lot inside the hospital. That one day, she happened to be late. So she canceled her morning appointment. She's supposed to come later in the afternoon. So what happened is that morning, a car crashed into that lot that was parking. That used to be her permanent lot.
Wow.
But for some reason, she came late that day. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
comes from the nurse client directly. So then she's like, oh, potentially I will averted event that could be disastrous because someone parked in that lot, although it's a permanent lot, but someone parked in the lot, and then the person's car got crashed more than half of the bonnet and everything. So that did happen. So that is what we say an explanation of something serious was about to happen. But let's just say that if the feng shui is good, supportive, the event magnitude or the event can get buffered down. So this is exactly what we want. So we say 天时地利人和 is just that three things: your heaven, your earth, and man energy. If all is correct, right? So I always say that for you to make the best decision ever, the only way to do it is you have to know your 八字. Because without knowing your 八字, there's really no way to make good decision. Because sometimes you say, oh, it's all about being hardworking. It's all about just hustler 24/7. The term in the Western world, they always tell us, you want to be successful, you have to be cutting your sleep. 6 hours is too much. You have to be sleeping 2 hours because you're wasting your time sleeping, right? You need to be hustling 24 hours if possible. But apparently, I always tell you, right? Take a good look about people around you in life. There are people so much more hardworking than all of us here. But sometimes you feel for them because they are not reaching the level of success they're supposed to be reaching.
Yeah.
Then you answer why. Isn't that about hustling? About putting in the hours, grinding? So that's the key. We don't want to be grinding unnecessary, right? You don't want to be grinding blindly. So for all you know that, the 10 years of you being an accountant, you could be better off doing something in that business that you want to start for a long time. And who knows, once you're already in, 10 years, you look back, wow, it's a different you. You've been so far to this level. Then you say, what? Had I known this in my accountant from my second year, I would already dropped the job. I would not continue on for the 10 years.
So you save yourself 10 years, right?
A lot of time, right? So at the end of the day, for us to make better decisions, it comes back to your 八字. But likewise, 八字, you can't change outcome. Most of the time, I say that what will happen, most of the time likely will happen, but you can mitigate the differences, okay?
Yeah.
But so sometimes, let's just say the person coming to a path of very supportive energy, so they get energy, very supportive people supporting them, clients suddenly so supportive throughout. And what will happen if they were to stay in a good feng shui house? It becomes a multiplier. Yeah. So sometimes you see that in market where people doing live stream, 3 years, they were doing $10 million. 3 years, right? So we see that's not possible with a brick and mortar business. But then people just doing live stream, they went 10 million. And in China, you do get that very powerful twin brothers is selling, right? So they're also doing tons of money. Okay, so again, knowing where's the trend is good because that's when you know feng shui energy. Okay, the last trend is a lot about properties. This current trend is a lot about tech. Doesn't mean that you cannot earn from property anymore. It's just not so much in terms of masses. Okay, you have to find the right project, right location, then you can earn good money. But it's not like 10 years ago you buy any houses in Singapore virtually, I think the price went up.
Doubled or tripled.
So right now you want to really flipping houses like 100% is almost impossible, right? Unless you really know your data where to buy. So again, at the end of the day, we say that knowing the trend, great, right? Know your parts breakthrough, know when to make the right decision, and then of course you use feng shui as a lever to support the house energy. So you'll feel it right because once you're back home, the home is peaceful, everyone is looking out for each other. It's not a cold environment, right? So I said that's the kind of environment you should be building. So if you're not getting any of those, you have to figure out what went wrong and have it fixed. Yeah. So the key is to figure out what went wrong, and then once you get it done, then you feel the changes again. Then you're back to building mode. Versus sometimes people get attacked too often, right? Then they become very highly defensive, defense, and not to the level they're not doing even anything anymore because they're so fear of everything, breaking here and there. Yeah. So that's
fascinating conversation, Kevin. So Kevin, I'm curious if people want to find out more about you and maybe learn from you or potentially engage you as a consultant. What's the best way?
Yeah, sure. So now if you want us to help you with your feng shui, right? So there's two ways I mentioned. One is you can learn from a system. We do have a lot of system that teaches you the same methodologies we're using right now. That way you can learn as a student, right? then pay attention to our mailing list or something. We'll drop when is our next classes has been upcoming. So feel free to join the classes, learn the actual methodologies. Now the second way is you will then you look for any I don't know forms or links around here. You'll contact you to our team, right? And you will help write you through the processes, because sometimes not everyone need to fix everything. Okay, so only when we can understand what is the current problems you are facing right now, or sometimes there could be even no problems. But in short, 10 people who has to do a feng shui audit, most people, 6 out of 10, usually has some problems from somewhere. They want to get it resolved. All right. Then the other 4 people out of the 10 are the type that they are already successful, doing okay, doing well, but wants to bring the businesses to the next level. Yeah. So these are how some of this is from our demographics, our data. So contact my team, then they will be able to guide you from there. All my team is fully trained by myself only, so reaching the high level standards. So we are very result orientated. So just want to make sure that this is what we want to be getting, like a certain problem is resolved. Okay. Then of course on your end is then certain actions will be required from you, right? So even that, let's say you will get me to audit your house, your office, or my team member, my senior consultants come down to your house office, you have to follow through, you see. So if these are the recommendations, this is what to do. If you allow your problems right now to override you, it's oh no, I'm too busy right now, too many problems to face with, I can't change any of these things right now. Guess what? Nothing changed. Okay, then I would say then let's not contact me in the first place. Because key thing is I want to get rid of a problem. So that's why I say I'm telling you that using feng shui in the right way, you see results very fast.
Perfect. All right. So I'll have those links in the show notes. So if anyone wants to get in touch with Kevin, you can do so through that. All right, Kevin, wonderful having you on board. And thank you so much for your time and for explaining feng shui and bazi and so much information and such a fascinating topic.
Yeah, so you can realize that every time I spoke about this topic, I'm just so very enthusiastic about it, because this is essentially what changed my life, and I use the same system to change thousands of clients' life. So that's why I say that is if only the whole world get access to this knowledge, that'd be the best outcome, because then everyone will be so much in control of their life and not having a lot of things that coming out due to certain things that's not done right. So sometimes it's the house feng shui, but sometimes it could be just from your bazi. You have to overcome a really bad event. And likewise, I did say bazi event is not something you can just, oh, you know what, I will stop going out so I'll not face this event. Somehow the chances of it happening to you is very high, right? Because that is technically your footprints of where you're about to go in your life, as far as bazi is concerned, right? So all good. Thanks for having me in the session.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin.